Hello and welcome to another episode of the Halloween podcast. I am your host, Lyle Perez, and man, it has been a long time since I talked to you guys. I think it's been, 6, 7, 8 months, maybe? Close to a year? It's been a while. So, I have some explaining to do. Why was I gone for so long? Well, it's probably because I no longer live in California. I have uprooted my family and everyone, and we moved to Tennessee. If you are on the Facebook page, then you probably already knew that we left California, that crazy state, and we came over here to Tennessee where things are so different. Man, I can't tell you how different it is here than it is in California. It is so different that I can't even get a decent burrito or a decent taco here. It's so crazy. I have no idea what I'm doing in Tennessee. But for everyone that wished us well, we made it here fine. Things were a little hectic at first when we first got here. We had some trouble with our new house. But here we are 6 months later since we moved in, 5 months later, somewhere around there. I think we got to the house on December 2nd is when we actually hit Tennessee. We were on the road for about a week. The week of Thanksgiving, we were already on the road just trying to go through Texas. Texas took us about 3 days to get through. We went the southern route. We went through El Paso, and man, it was an experience, to say the least. I did it fine. My wife and the kids, they had a little bit of a problem, but we made it. We're fine. The kids are fine. They're getting used to this new southern schooling that they do here. The biggest problem I have is I'm trying to get used to all of the accents because everyone here has a southern accent, and some of them are pretty thick. So if you're in Tennessee listening to this, hey, I'm in your state now, hanging around. I'll be here for probably the next 10 years or so. I don't know how long we'll be here, but we'll be here a while. So the Halloween podcast kind of took was on the back burner for a while, mostly because with the move, and I had to pack away the studio, and then I had to wait for me to make another studio where I can unload everything. And one of the things that I hate about podcasting is you need to put the equipment away because it's in the way, and when you feel like you want to record, you go, oh, perfect, let me go record, and then it takes you like an hour to set up the microphone, set up the mixers, the computer, all of that stuff. So by then, you're probably like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that anymore. But I built a studio here inside of, well, it's not inside of the house. This house had like a huge workshop. It was like a 1,000-foot workshop. It's huge. So I turned it into my store is here for my job, my essential oil business, and I do all of the bottling here. All of the stuff's all done in this workshop, and there's a little corner, a 7x7 room that we insulated, we carpeted everything. The walls have carpet on them. The roof has carpet, and it's all insulated. There's foam everywhere. If you're on the Facebook page, facebook.com/the Halloween podcast, or I think it's the Halloween pod, one of the two, you'll see a picture of it there. There's like a 3D image of the whole thing, so you can see what it looks like. There's a lot of red, there's a lot of black. Those are my two favorite colors. So put them together, and now my studio. But I'm up. I'm running. I finally have the studio up, and I can actually start recording some shows because we have the coronavirus going on right now, and there's not much to do. I have to stay home, and luckily for me, though, I work from home, so it's not a huge deal. I'm already home all the time, anyways. But now all of the kids are here. We just found out last week that school's been canceled here in Tennessee, and it's canceled for the rest of the school year. We're barely in April, and the kids don't go back to school until like August. So man, that's another 4 months with the kids home. It's crazy, and we're on lockdown too. Like the rest of the country, we have to do the social distancing thing, and it's tough because I started a drone business, so I'm trying to do real estate things, and I can't. I got my certifications and everything, and now I'm just sitting here going, I can't do anything now. But because of that, I decided, hey, why don't I just get some podcasting done for you guys, because you guys have been waiting a long time to get some Halloween podcast goodness. So, I didn't really have much planned on this show. I just wanted to come on to tell you guys what happened, what's been going on. The Halloween podcast is coming back. I'm pretty sure it's going to be coming back really soon. I'll probably start doing them weekly now because I really don't have much else to do, so I might as well do that. And hopefully this year, don't hold me to it, but I am going to do the 31 countdown show in October. So look forward to that. I still have a theme that I was going to do last year, but because of the move and all that stuff, couldn't do it. So it all got moved to this year. So stay tuned for more on that as things progress. So yeah, let me get into a show because I feel like you guys deserve something. I was doing the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark theme shows. I did a bunch of them already. I have notes for like a good, 8 more that I might as well just record them and get them out. I still want to go through the whole book. I want to go through the whole series where I do all the research about the stories and all of that stuff. So yeah, I guess in this show I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the next story in I think I was doing more Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I think that's the book I was on. So the last one I did, it was One Sunday Morning, and I remember that because I see it on my podcast list all the time that's the last one I did. So let's move on to the next one. On today's episode, we're going to look at the story Sounds. This one is about a haunted mansion by the beach. It's a place where no one stays for more than a day, so the legend goes. This one night, 3 fishermen were caught in a storm and spent the night there. I don't know how they found the house, but they found it and they stayed there. First, they heard a lot of footsteps upstairs. So one of the men called out. He's like, "Who's there?" But then it stopped. So soon after, they heard a woman scream, and blood started to drip into the room, and a door slammed. The woman screamed, "Not me!" Footsteps began again, and they heard a man yell, "I'll get you." The fishermen began to think they were going crazy. The screaming stopped, and they heard footsteps coming down the stairs, all quiet. Then a bolt of lightning flashed, and in the middle of the room, for a split second, they saw a face staring at them from the hallway. And the fishermen got so scared that they said, "Forget this, we're out of here." And then they took off. That is basically the whole story. That's pretty much all that happened. Okay, so a couple of things about the story is these fishermen were pretty brave. I mean, if I was stuck in a room where there were screams and yells, I wouldn't be there. I wouldn't think it was a ghost. I'd probably think that there's actually like something going on upstairs where there's other people in the house. So I would have ran off because of that, not because there might be a ghost in the room. So these guys were pretty brave, and I tip my hat to them. So let's move on to some of the source material for this story. The story is based on a real mansion in Mobile, Alabama, and I know Mobile now because I'm about 4 hours away, and I recently discovered that one of my cousins moved there, so I have to go visit her sometime, but it's not too far. Mr. Swartz, he referenced Skinner, page 19 in the source material. It leads to a book titled American Myths and Legends Volume 2 by Charles Skinner. This was first published around 1903. Now, this book was hard to track down. Out of all of the stories I've done so far, this one almost made me give up the search because I could not find it. I actually remember how hard it was for me to find the book for this story. I finally found a scanned sample somewhere. I don't remember where. I really wish I would have put down websites on my notes, but I do remember that it was like the only thing I could find. The name of the story is titled A Night in Madison Manor. This story is a tad different, but the meat is still the same. This one gives a little bit more detail though. Most people that spend a night at Madison Manor never return. A few businessmen were fishing and got caught in the rain. They found shelter at this mansion. Apparently, the men have heard stories about this place, but didn't put much stock into them. It's just campfire ghost story stuff. They started a fire, they ate dinner, and went to bed. As soon as they fell asleep, they started hearing things resembling a murder. They woke up and thought they were dreaming when they heard footsteps coming from the second floor. They shouted, "Who's there?" and the footsteps stops. Blood started dripping from the ceiling, like Mr. Schultz's story. A door flew open, and it felt like a chase was happening, like somebody was running and being chased. From all of the noise, the men knew it was a man and a woman fighting. They only heard it. They didn't see anything. An hour passed, and they finally started hearing things being flung all over the place. There was laughter, and there was silence, and then laughter. Pretty creepy stuff. They never saw anything. Like I said, they heard everything was all audible. After a few minutes, they heard someone walking down the stairs, dragging something. The door opened, and it sounded like something was flung out, and it was like trampling weeds, like they threw a body out. Morning came, the rain stopped. It started turning into thunderstorms. The thunder was so close, it shook the house. They thought it'd be better to brave the thunder than to stay inside the house. As they were leaving the room was filled with like a green haze. A loud thunder crash. It deafened them, and the man saw a face from the stairs looking at him, and that's where it ended. The stories, like I said, the meat's about the same. You do get more detail in the source material than you would in Schwartz's story. So it has been said that the house was built by an Englishman named Madison. He was rich. He didn't really care for company. Kind of sounds like me. I don't really care for company. He lived with a young woman who he claimed was his daughter. Without any word, he left home to England. Years later, he wrote to an agent to sell the house for him. It was sold and resold, but no one stayed long at the house. These types of stories are everywhere. So now that we know the story, let's see if we can find some real history behind this thing. The main piece of information we have is that this mansion is in Mobile, Alabama. So let's see. I found the website, and I'm going to see if I could find it in like this haunted location and see if it matches. Let's see. Hold on. Okay. According to my notes, I have the website and everything, so let me go to it. All right, so I'm back, and it looks like Mobile, Alabama has a few haunted locations. None of them fit the bill of this story. of course, which is interesting. I mean, where did this story come from? Where did Mr. Skinner get it from? In American Myths and Legends Volume 2, there are no sources, so I couldn't really find any sources for this story. Unlike Schwartz's Scary Stories, he at least references this one, but this one doesn't have a reference. So I can't track it anymore. In Schwartz's notes under Sounds, he has that Skinner was a newspaper man from Brooklyn, New York. There were no details about where the story came from. Schwartz also mentions that he wasn't a trained folklorist, but he did manage to retell 115 legends. So I don't know, maybe it was a legend that he came across and then put it in his book. It's hard to say. I wish he would have, Mr. Skinner would have sourced this, because it would have been cool to know what mansion they were really referencing. Because, like I said, in this website, Mobile, Alabama, Haunted Places, there's no mention about Madison Manor that, I don't know, it's not there. So it might be a different name. I could probably do some more digging around, see if I can find more stories that kind of fit this, but from what it looks like, it's going to be hard to tell exactly where this comes from. Maybe if Skinner would have put this sources into his book, I'd be able to dig deeper, but without it, I mean, that's basically where this legend ends. So that's going to do it for this episode. If you'd like to support the Halloween podcast, you can do it a couple of different ways. You can go to Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review. Trust me, those do help. They do help. I've been getting a lot of them since I've been gone, which is really great. Some good, some bad. So if you really like this show and you want to support us, leave us a good review. That basically tells people that, hey, this is a show that people need to check out. If you have any questions, comments, or want to suggest anything for a future show, go ahead and send me an email at thehalloweenpodcast@gmail.com. We are also on Twitter at thehalloweenpod. So thank you guys so much for listening. I know this is going to be a really rough show because I am so out of practice when it comes to podcasting. This isn't the first podcast I've done since I've been back. I did one with Lassa yesterday, I think, for the It's a 90s Christmas podcast. So I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. But until then, I hope you guys forgive me. I will be back. I'm going to do another show for you probably next week. I'm not sure when, but I'll get another one done for you guys next week. So with that, thank you guys so much for listening and have a good night.